Hey, welcome back. Just got back from Tokyo Central, all the Japanese things that you could ever want. I try to make these videos at the same time that I actually do my makeup to actually go do something. I hate doing my makeup for videos because it's so like, oh, I have to stop what I'm doing and then go do it. So get this. It's January now, which is booking season for me, finally. Like I told you in the other videos before, during the holidays it's kind of like our slow season. So it's a warm welcome back to booking clients and getting ready for this new year in 2018. I'm very excited because we're getting a lot of inquiries, and my conversion rate is still what it was last year, but there's more. I don't know. There's a balance there. There's a method to the madness. So far, so good. I have one client that isn't necessarily even a normal type of client. So get this. He does not want to pay the normal thing. And when you do a service-based business, you're often faced with a lot of clients that are looking for a discount, especially in service, because it's like, how can you really, are you really worth $100 or $250 an hour, $350 an hour, right? Sometimes if you have not done your job online and with the present materials that's in front of a potential client, it's questionable, right? And so it is always my intention to create a lot of content, not a lot, but just like enough that would show, okay, cool, that's somebody I want to work with, right? That's basically my aim with any content that I'm making online, whether it's seemingly directly correlated to wedding photography or just personal branding. Because whether you realize it or not, when you look at somebody's Instagram or you look at somebody's website, and if you do your due diligence and you're a savvy client or a savvy customer, you're going to start looking at other things that's going to give you little hints or check marks in your head that says, I want to work with that person, right? So that's what we've been doing. Sometimes you can do everything you can do as a creator, as a business owner, to try and be transparent, to try to be honest, to try to run your business ethically, and to show that online. But every now and again, you get a client that doesn't want to pay, maybe wants a discount, maybe wants to run things their own way. With every year, there's one that's always kind of like, didn't check off all the boxes for you as a service provider, right? There's always one, at least one, who's a little just kind of, that person was a little, in some cases, hopefully, it didn't get to this case where it was like a headache to deal with. I think it's okay when you set up your business in such a way where you maybe get an annoying client, but not a headache client. So there's a big difference between annoying and headache. So this year I have a little bit of an annoying client, and you kind of have to be wary because an annoying client can turn into a headache client. And the difference between that is like, headache is like not getting paid. Annoying is maybe not paying you the way that you prefer to be paid as a service provider. So he's right here in the annoying category. I was like, man, is this fool gonna turn into a headache client? I really hope not. I don't want to start off this year. I want to be as flexible as I can be. I don't want to be too stern with everybody because then it turns it into like, oh, this person, you can't even work with them, you know. So it's always a case by case sort of thing, what I feel, how I read the client, and how I talk to them, and what their tone is like, and do you really need help, or are you just trying to hustle me? And I said, you know what, new year, new me. I was like, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the terms, alternative terms that you want to go ahead with the payment, because it's like, it's not even a typical client. It comes along. I have this guy on a sort of a payment schedule and agreed terms that we had to, and he didn't follow these terms. A little friendly but stern reminder was sent out. Before I sent out this reminder, I actually had a conversation with a fellow vendor who's also working with this client. She was actually really upset that he did the same thing to her. So I said, oh, this is just a fool that likes to give vendors a hard time or doesn't appreciate them and the service that they provide, and is just maybe trying to hustle people all the time. In the same vein, he also seemed to be just somebody who was maybe burned in the past. And I can take sympathy on somebody who's been burned in the past, because I've been burned in the past, not even in business, you know, like personally. So I know what that can do to you and your mind and, you know, mess up your brain. And that's when I decided to be a little bit more nicer. And it is true that you catch more flies with honey, right? More bees with honey, or whatever that saying is, to get to the outcome that you want. So sometimes there's always this feeling of having to be stern and having to put down your foot on some people in order for things not to escalate into headache territory, which I really want to avoid this year. I want to minimize as many headaches as possible. He needs our service. You know, if you need us, no, don't treat us like crap, basically. You know, respect us as vendors, as service providers. It was a nice little reminder for me. You know, she really put her foot down. She was very stern. She basically lectured him on why he should not be asking for a discount or putting forth new terms. And I didn't think that was too necessary on my part, because I just don't want to go there. I don't have time to do that. It's either this is our terms, I can be flexible with you, and that's it, and there's no discussion after that, and then we can work together. So I try to keep it as clean as possible, but it was a very good lesson for me that sometimes I can be a little bit too nice. I can be a little bit too flexible in favor of a client who thinks who thinks that they're entitled to it, right? Those were her words, and I think it was a really good, important lesson for me. Yes, I can be flexible. Yes, you know, you can run your business exactly the way that you want to run it. At the same time, you know, be careful of that. Be careful of letting in people, letting in little annoyances. And this can be said for anything beyond business, like in personal, when you let things slide so often that it becomes habit. You make your decision as a business owner whether or not to do it, and you deal with the consequences of those being flexible and breaking your own rules and things like that. And so it's a really good reminder to me to not make too many like that, because I think in my thirst for hitting a certain number of bookings that I could stoop to that I could give too many people discounts or be too light on people and be too forgiving. But I think in that case, in that instant, I was more attuned to, I need to be more attuned and stern but fair about how I do things, because these decisions that I make at the top are going to trickle down into the rest of my life. I thought it was a cool little lesson for myself that I wanted to share with you guys on So Get This. So yeah, little slip-ups, those little things that you give and take. Just realize there are repercussions down the road, those ripples that kind of ripple out and can affect other things. And so just to be aware, and next time something comes up like this, I'm going to be very, very clear about what goes down about payment. I mean, there's no problem with this guy. He paid right away when I reminded him. It was no problem, but it was a lesson. And I want to pay attention to these little flags, little yellow flags that I don't want to become red flags. You know what I mean? Best to be wise, best to keep the ears perked up, paying attention. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happened. And I'll see you next time. Bye.